This is Marta from Ruby Soup with Pearl Juice. This will be basically the same blog but in YouTube channel form. On this channel we're going to talk about books and movies and cartoons and video games. Today I'm going to do a review of a video game called Life is Strange. Now Life is Strange is a little bit different. It is not a shooter up game. It is a game that is more plot and character driven, in the similar vein as Heavy Rain. And by that I mean that it is a video game where the player is given, in certain circumstances, multiple choices, and the player can choose, like for instance, there's an example, like you can either eat lasagna or you can eat meatballs, and then depending on what the player chooses, then that may or may not then have consequences later on in the video game. And that is the appeal of the video games, that it's like multiple storyline choices, and depending on how the player plays, then you can the characters will change or the plot will change, and you can kind of, the player for instance also, it's almost like a movie where you get to kind of write the script. And Life is Strange is about Maxwell Caulfield, a 18-year-old girl who goes to a high school called Blackwell Academy. And at this high school, they are learning how to do photography. And that is a major theme in this video game, photography. Max wants to become a great photographer, and it's like photography as art and as also as witness and that kind of stuff. So the basic plot is that Max has a vision, and that's how the game starts. She has a vision of a tornado that's causing havoc, and there's a wild storm, and then all of a sudden there's a flash and she's back in her classroom, and one thing leads to another, and she figures out that she can rewind time. And she witnesses a girl getting shot in the girl's bathroom, and she rewinds time to go save this girl. And later on she finds out that this girl is a childhood friend, a very close childhood friend called Chloe, who she used to be enormously close to, but then they drifted apart, and due to these circumstances they now find each other. And Chloe had another friend called Rachel, who also went to Blackwell Academy, and then Rachel has gone missing, and people don't know what happened to her. She just went missing and nobody knows anything about where she is or if she's alive or dead. And Chloe is very adamant about that they have to find Rachel. And Max goes on this adventure with Chloe, trying to figure out what happened to Rachel, while at the same time trying to figure out about this vision she had of the tornado and the impending doom of Arcadia Bay, their hometown. And this video game is very character driven and very plot driven. So needless to say, people that have played this game, they have very strong emotions about the characters and about the plots, and it's very divided inside of the fandom. So there's a lot to go through here. So I'll have a spoiler-free section, and I'll put up a warning about when I'm going into spoilers. So just quickly, spoiler-free. This video game it's very engaged. You get very easily engaged in it, and it's a lot of fun doing these different choices. And if you're not happy with your choice, you can always rewind and do another choice and see the different outcomes, and that's a lot of fun. And it's a lot like, then you can choose, like for instance, how much you want to help your classmates, or how much you want to just focus on the mystery, or you can do both of these things at the same time. That's how I played it. I tried to help a lot of people, and but I know like some people, they would just focus on the mystery. And it's very it feels very Twin Peaksy. There's even a shout out to Twin Peaks inside the game. The whole town where there's a lot of people's secrets and these things going behind the scene, and it starts off as very light and it gets darker and darker as the video game goes on. The video game is divided into 5 sections. And the first section is free on the internet, so you can go and play the first episode completely free and see if you like it before you purchase the game. I played the first episode and liked it, and I purchased it, but I don't have a physical copy, so there's probably gonna be a little graph here. But I liked it, and the thing that's so great about this video game is that you get very immersed in the world, you get very lost in the world. And even if you probably won't like all of the characters, in fact, a lot of the characters do decisions that probably will irk the player quite a bit, then regardless, you really get engaged with the characters, and it's interesting that it's very much like a book or a movie where you can have alternative interpretations of the characters, and it's very interesting. Like if you play this video game with friends, you can have very heated debates about the characters. Are these characters good? Are these characters bad? Well, this character did this. What do you think of that? And so it's even like a video game that you can even talk about, which is a lot of fun. But there are certain things that I have gripes with. So I'm gonna now put up a warning, and I'm gonna go into spoilers. Okay, 1, 2, 3, spoiler time. Yeah, so the one problem that I really have with this video game is that it relies on the girl who's gone missing. Bitch Media just had a whole article, and I will link it down below, called Wrapped in Plastic, where you have these tropes of girls that have gone missing, and then like you go on this adventure to try and figure out what happened to this girl, and then it's almost always that they had a scandalous past, and it gets into this weird kind of like victim blaming a little bit. And I feel like that's a little bit what happened with Rachel, because Rachel like had a relationship with a the drug dealer Frank. She had this relationship with this older drug dealer man, and then she also got involved with Jefferson, who was her teacher. So they do kind of play a little bit into that bad girl trope where the bad girl gets killed, which is a little bit problematic. And in the final episode, and this is where I have to say like a trigger warning might be a good thing, that the 5th episode I think needs a trigger warning for abuse, because the bad guy Jefferson, when he finds out that Max and Chloe are close to figuring out about what happened to Rachel, then he kills Chloe and he abducts Max, and he ties her to a chair and takes these photographs of her, and she's awake when this is happening. And it's very, especially like if you're playing the video game, then it gets very distressing, because you are like seeing this girl being tortured by this guy, and it goes on for a really, really long time, and it's really stressful, and it might trigger some people, so that's just good to know about. And also Chloe is a very divided character in the fandom, and I actually don't really like her that much. I feel like she's very entitled and she's kind of spoiled. And like she says things like, oh, well, it can never be my fault, so screw that. And I really have an issue with that. And she, in a way, like I understand that her dad died and that kind of stuff, and she doesn't get along with her stepdad, but I feel like it very felt like that she was just going out of her way to be unpleasant. And I kind of feel like she did grow up a little bit in episode 3, but I kind of thought that like she could never admit that she did some pretty bad decisions. Like, you know, she steals and she sells drugs, and these are very stupid ideas. And like, I understand she wanted to get money to get out of Arcadia Bay, but for instance, her mother works at a diner. Now, she could have, for instance, gotten a part-time job working at the diner instead of selling drugs if she needed money that bad. So, and I guess like people would say like, well, you know, you would get more money out of selling the drugs. Well, I doubt that she really would, because she had to work with Frank, and I think Frank would probably rake in like the biggest cut, and he would probably give her a much more smaller cut of the money. You know, one of those bad boss things. So yeah, So I didn't really want them to end up together. And one of the things that is kind of nice about this video game is that it's very diverse. Max is bisexual, and so is Chloe. And then you got like some people of color in the background. Even though all the major characters, Rachel, Frank, Nathan, Warren, Max, they're all white, and that's a bit of a shame. Like Brooke, who is Asian, and Daniel, who is Latino, they're really much in the back, and that's a bit of a pity. Maybe they could have it a little bit more of a racially diverse cast. It was very white, but there were a lot of queer characters. So if you're looking for that kind of presentation in a video game, then this game's kind of for you. But I actually didn't want Chloe and Kate to. I didn't want Chloe and Max to get together. I actually wanted Max to end up with another one of her classmates, Kate. I kind of thought that Kate was a lot more sweeter, and I kind of thought that their chemistry was really good. And I wasn't much of a fan of Warren, who was the other possible love interest. I kind of thought that he was a bit of a nice guy. Even though a little bit like Chloe, he got better as it went on. But it kind of like, I kind of felt that they had really much of a more friend kind of connection, and I think like Warren kind of was pushing a little bit too much, like, oh well, I would like to go on a date, and it was kind of like, but I don't know, like maybe depending on how other people will play it, then there was maybe more chemistry, but I really didn't get any there. Yeah, but it's a good game otherwise. Definitely check it out if you would like a video game with characters and story, and even some even some interesting messages. I really like the stuff that it talks about, like bullying, and you can, for instance, one of the options is that you can talk to the fishermen and the truck drivers and such. So there's even like a little bit of depicting working class, and as I mentioned, Chloe's mother works at a diner, and you kind of see the stuff that she has to deal with, like how stressful it is for a woman to work in this kind of environment where the men are very disrespectful. So the working class representation is really good, and there's queer representation, and it's, you do get lost in the world. Like even if I didn't like Chloe and Warren, then I wanted to keep playing because I wanted to find out like what happened to Rachel, and I just want to see what happens to Max, and I want to see what happens to all these classmates. So it is a really engrossing game. I would really recommend it. I guess I would give it 4.5. I was thinking about giving it 5, but as I said, there's some problematic things in there, like Chloe's not very likable, and the dead girl trope is getting a kind of a little bit old, so not quite 5 stars, but 4.5.